One, two, 1, 2. So, in the 1, 2, we are ready to follow the finish. The arrival of. Well, a very good afternoon. Welcome to Les Sables d'Olonne and the entry to the channel of Isabelle Joschke on MACSF. And of course, Isabelle, not a finisher in this Vendée Globe, but she has arrived hors course, as we say, out of the race. She has completed her full solo circumnavigation after restarting out of Salvador de Bahia in Brazil. She was forced out of the race just east of Argentina. With she had a keel ram problem just before Cape Horn, which she'd centered the keel and seemed to be doing okay, and then went into a big storm, and the temporary solution failed, and she was forced out of the race. But Isabelle started off saying that she wanted to be proud of her race and be proud of the way she looked after herself and her boat. And that was before the start, and she certainly has done that. And she is being accorded a very, very warm welcome back into Les Sables d'Olonne this afternoon. Many, many people out in the channel. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon, not too cold. And there you see Alain Gauthier, the project manager for MACSF, and indeed a former winner of the Vendée Globe, former safety consultant for the Vendée Globe. He is on board the IMOCA with Isabelle. It's a beautiful afternoon, as I say, lots and lots of people out in the channel. It is holiday time in France, and in particular in Les Sables d'Olonne. Local holidays mean the schools are closed, and there's many people here, and a lot of them keen to come out and welcome Isabelle Joschke. Isabelle, of course, 43 years old, Franco-German, German father, French mother. And she really has had a pretty tortuous Vendée Globe all in all. But she really was just in her stride when she had to retire. She was comfortably inside the top 10. I think she was 9th, just approaching Cape Horn when she had her first problem. And was still 12th in that big storm off Argentina, when she finally had to give up. And at that point, it was really about the stabilizing the boat and getting out of the storm as quickly as possible. It was getting the required outside assistance from the race direction and from our meteo consultants. She said before the start, she said her outright ambition is to complete this race and to be proud of the way I deal with everything. I know it won't be easy. She did want to finish in the top 10. And she certainly proved on her first Vendée Globe, her first solo round the world race, that she had the capacity to do that. So huge respect for Isabelle Joschke. And not least for the way that she sailed the boat back into Salvador de Bahia. I think it was 16 days it took her from the moment she retired to get all the way back to the east into Salvador under reduced sail, looking after her boat. Yeah, just in terms of her passage times until she retired, well, she was 15th at the equator. She really came down the Atlantic fairly prudently. She lost a few places early on, just really didn't stay with the peloton in the early part of the race, but then she started catching up. She found her own pace, and she was 15th at the equator. She made up to 12th by the Cape of Good Hope, then 9th at Cape Lewin, and really I think the Pacific saw the best of Isabelle Joschke. She was up to 9th just before Cape Horn, and then lost these places with her keel problems. Her toughest moments really in the south, I think, were after the rescue of Kevna Scoffey. That really hit her quite hard because the boat she has, MACSF, was built as originally as Saffron in 2007 for the 2008 Vendée Globe, and is very, very similar to PRB in terms of construction. PRB was slightly lighter, but both PRB and also we know subsequently VMB Mayenne, also similar design, similar vintage, all had these problems or had structural problems, and so Isabelle and her team were extremely worried, and Alan Ngosia yesterday revealed that he had considered telling Isabelle to stop the race and to come into South Africa, into Cape Town, because they were concerned about her safety. Anyway, she did push on. She sailed nicely in the Pacific and became increasingly comfortable at speed. She never liked the cold. She's a sailor who, long before the start, had said that one of the things she was least looking forward to was freezing cold temperatures. And many, many times we saw her wrapped up in multiple layers. So huge credit, huge respect then to Isabelle Joschke, who came into the Amoca class just in 2017 after the last Vendée Globe, when Alain Gauthier and his team bought this boat, which raced the last Vendée Globe with Jan Elias finishing 5th. And Alain Gauthier and the team put on foils and updated the boat substantially. But it was one of their philosophies. They bought the boat almost at the same time as Louis Burton was buying the winning boat. That was their philosophy, was to run a program from pretty much just after the finish of the last race, run a full 4-year program. And that was the plan, but it didn't really go so well for Isabelle and the team, because first of all they lost Generali as their main sponsor. She was partnered with Mona for a while, and then finally MACSF stepped in as a sponsor who have a history with the Vendée Globe. They're a medical insurance company for medical professionals. So what a wonderful welcome for Isabelle Joschke. I think she's such a self-effacing character, and really has such a little tiny ego. She's but extremely driven, extremely competitive, and has made so many fans around the world over the course of her race for her determination and her skills. And she goes way back. She is a contemporary in every sense of the word of Sam Davis. And the two, of course, have come back up the Atlantic close together since Isabelle came out of Salvador de Bahia. Sam was about 200 miles ahead, but they have been in communication ever since. And Isabelle started in the mini class a few years after Sam, and indeed Sam's mini came originally from Andrew Cape. Sam sailed it a few seasons and then actually passed it on to Ari Husela, and Ari then sold it on to Isabelle, and Isabelle went on to take to win the first stage of the Mini Transat in 2007. Before she did, I think about 7 or 8 seasons she did in the Figaro, did Isabelle. But she did kind of start out sailing and racing in the Caribbean, in the US, and in the Mediterranean, all fleet racing. But it was only when she moved to Lorient she got involved with the mini class. When she was in her late 20s, that was 26, 27 years old she was when she came into the mini class. So, and really overall a relatively late starter into racing, although she did start at a very young age on the lake in Austria with her grandmother in a very small dinghy, and then she moved into an Optimist. This boat, they say, was built originally as the first Safran for Marc Guillemot. It was the first boat from VPLP Verdi. It really set a new phase of design. Much lighter, lower surface area, lower wetted surface. Looking to have much less drag than the Imocas, the big, wide, powerful Imocas of its time. And if you remember, Marc Guillemot then took third place in that 2008-2009 Vendée Globe. It was a successful boat in the early days. It finished second in the Transat Jacques Vabre the year before, and then won the Transat Jacques Vabre the following year with Charles Crudele, and then Guillemot was third in the Route de Rome in 2010. So it's a boat with a long track record. And then, as I said, more recently, Jan Elias had the boat in the quadrennial leading up to the last Vendée Globe. And if you remember, he won, or he was third in the 2015 Transat Jacques Vabre with Charlie Dallin. So I would say that there's probably as many people out welcoming Isabelle Joschke into the channel today as we've seen for any of the finishes so far. And I think that's part of that's the weather and holiday season, but also for sure the Les Sables residents really appreciate what she's done, finishing or bringing her boat home into Les Sables d'Olonne, out of the race. But she, like Sam Davis, was always determined that she would bring the boat home, complete the circle, and in Isabelle's case, to complete her first solo round the world passage, and indeed her first passage round the world at all. And speaking with Alan Gauthier yesterday, you'll find the podcast on the website, but a nice interview with him yesterday. He was saying that he was sure that Isabelle wants to carry on into the Transat Jacques Vabre this year, and then they have an option, or MACSF have an option to go on into the Route de Rome. So you don't really need too many words to understand how delighted Isabelle Joschke is with this welcome. And it has been so hard for her. She's really found inner strength in each of the adversaries that she's struggled with. She responded very positively when she had that first initial problem with her keel, when she suddenly realised that she wasn't going to be able to be as competitive as she had been. The keel was then centred and fixed, though her speed was compromised thereafter. She was still very much in attacking mode when she when then the ram, which was holding the keel centred, then failed, and after that there was no alternative but to retire from the race. That was on the 3rd of January that the keel failed initially. She had 4 days or 5 days of racing, getting around Cape Horn and up, I think about 900 or 1,000 miles east of Argentina. And she was in the middle of this big storm, and she had to retire immediately. It was about 10 days that she was in Salvador de Bahia with her team. Alan Gauthier was out there, and some of the technical team who are on board the boat now. And as with Sam Davis, it's so much about the completing the circle, feeling like there's closure on the race for her mentally, and for Sam. I'm sure we'll see Isabelle Joschke back in the next Vendée Globe in 2024. A stronger and more competitive sailor, knowing the resources, the mental and physical resources that she has. And if anything, that was her initial problem in this race. Was she was super prudent, a little bit too careful, perhaps. Lost a few places in the North Atlantic before she really found her feet, found her level of attack. But today, it's all about enjoying the moment. Being reunited with her family and her friends and her supporters. So it was really when she was a student, I think, that she went to the famous Galong school in Brittany to do a little bit more formal sailing learning. And after that, she was hooked. It was really when she was in Lorient, as I was saying, that she met a bunch of mini sailors. She was given the chance to do a delivery on one of the minis, and after that, she decided that's what she wanted to do. And really, since then, she's never looked back. Although she had a pretty tough time qualifying for the Vendée Globe, having to retire when she was dismasted in the Route de Rome in 2018, and then also again from the in the Transat Jacques Vabre, she had a keel problem and had to retire from that, and that really left her qualifying in the very 11th hour for this race. But she did do that on the Vendée Arctic. And if you remember, in the early part of her IMOCA program, she and Sam Davis put in some really strong results. Second in the Dream Cup in 2018. And in the Monaco Globe Series originally, she was second with Alain in 2018. Eighth in the 2017 Jacques Vabre with Pierre Brasseur. She is really touched by the welcome. I'm quite sure she didn't expect it to be as big, but she absolutely deserves it. And not a surprise, also, considering the amount of inquiries and questions we've had almost daily ever since Isabelle pulled out of the race. Everybody wanted to know how she was doing, and she built herself a big international following. She has multilingual and always happy to converse and tell her full story in English. Of course, she was left as the leading female skipper in the race after Sam Davis retired. But unfortunately not for... she didn't hold that position for long enough. But she and Sam are very good friends as well as adversaries. Remember, as I said, in the early stages of our program, she and Sam were pulling off some great results in the IMOCA class. That 2017 Defi at Asimut, they were second and third from memory. Coming into the ponton d'honneur, into the main pontoon in front of the race HQ, where she left along with 32 other IMOCAs back on Sunday, the 8th of November. It seems like a lifetime ago. In some respects, but it seems like just yesterday. But this solo skipper has fought her battles, and in the end has won. And I think that's really what it's about today. She's never given up. So there will still be quite a number of skippers here on the pontoon to welcome her. Yes, indeed, there will be Sam Davis expected in, I think in the end, probably Friday lunchtime. She's in the same situation as Isabelle, where she's not in a big rush to catch she's not going to have any pushing her to catch the finish line ahead of anyone or chasing anyone. So I think Sam will just schedule her arrival the same way as Isabelle has.
On récupère celle d'Adrien pour la passer à Eric.
What a beautiful arrival. Their sponsors from our various different sponsors there on the dock, and their some of our friends and family. And she can be super proud of her achievement, not just in what she's done and the way she's accomplished it, but really the mental strength to go through with the whole exercise, getting the boat back into Salvador de Bahia. Say it was 16 days sailing painfully slowly with the keel, trying to protect the boat as much as possible, the keel swinging under the boat, unhinged literally. And then just getting going as quickly as possible as soon as the keel was fixed and a few other small repairs. And really, what a wonderful welcome. Indeed, like a few other skippers, male and female, she cites Ellen MacArthur as one of her heroes, somebody who inspired her. And certainly, in terms of her physical stature, Lisa is not a big skipper, as you'll see just now with Ivo Vanier pretty much dwarfing her. She's a relatively small, huge personality and big reserves of energy. And what a wonderful welcome back to land, completing her solo round the world passage. So no champagne then for Isabelle Joschke as part of the protocols. Obviously, he's not ranked as a finisher per se, but I think the welcome shows the measure of respect that everybody has for her for having accomplished what he has done.
So, question to Isabelle, was it important for you to finish this around the world? Yes, it was really important. I didn't take the decision immediately because then when I decided to do it, it was just obvious. It was so important to finish the story and to give all the meaning to the story. And in particular to get back up, because the Vendée Globe is not always fun. There are some wonderful moments and some moments of despair. So when I felt I could leave once again, and that all that happened wasn't that important, I needed to resume the race. About this first round the world, what do you have to say? Many things. An encounter with myself, and my God, it was so hard. It was incredibly difficult, more than I expected, and I am proud of myself because I pushed myself to the maximum. I think I gave my best. How hard is it? It's difficult for your nerves. It's sometimes difficult for your morale. It's very difficult physically. At some point, I realized I was at the limit of what I could give. But there are some moments, a few moments, where it's magical. There aren't that many, but they're so precious. So after this round the world, what comes next for you? Will you come back on the Vendée Globe? First of all, I'm going to land, and then for the next phase, we'll see. Do you want to do it again? For the moment, I really just want to rest, not project myself, and to taste the pleasure of having accomplished this. It's so huge. I think you mustn't go too fast, one step to the other. You did a very good passage in the south. Realized it? Yes, I finally realized it. I pushed myself and gave everything. And yes, honestly, I was proud of myself.
Bravo, Isabelle.
Bravo.
Congratulations, Isabelle. So Manu Cousin, they're hugging Isabelle, congratulating her. And Jean Le Cam, just before, of course. The King Jean was there to greet her also.
Isa, well done.
Ouais, bravo à toi, Isa. Bravo, Isa.
So Jacques Carès congratulating her. We heard Laura Le Goff, managing director of the Vendée Globe, also.
So Isabelle will just do her statutory photographs with her team and her friends and family. Be a few media interviews, and then she'll come up and do a press conference with us here in Race HQ in a short while. But, quite a big team there with members of the MACSF group and her technical team, who did such a good job getting her boat sorted in Salvador de Bahia. So her words on the dock, just reminding you, she's just saying she's just going to take things one step at a time to let the accomplishment sink in, to enjoy what she's accomplished, saying how hard it was really having to find new reserves of mental and physical energy. As much a voyage of self-discovery, and there she is with thanking Alain Gauthier, who really was, as much as anything, was the architect of this project in the beginning. And they started out together, did a couple of years under the colours of Generali on the Figaro circuit. Alan racing at the same time as Isabelle in the last years of the Figaro 2. Of course, Alan instrumental in the early career of Ellen MacArthur. He was the main consultant on that project. And he said he believes that Isabelle has the same kind of talent, the same kind of mental and physical reserves. And before the start, Isabelle also saying, and she was talking about Ellen, saying that she was inspired because Ellen didn't really have a massive amount of sailing experience when she took on the Route de Rome and the Vendée Globe. It was all about how she learned and how quickly she learned and the passion for it. And so nice day out for our sponsors, as I say, who are a big medical insurance group. Speaking of which, our race doctor there, Jean-Yves Chauve, just behind Jean Le Cam. Jean-Yves Chauve has done every edition of the Vendée Globe and continues to be a huge support to the skippers when they're on the water. There's Miranda Merrin there, welcoming Isabelle back to land. Manu Kazan just beside her. Do a quick photo with all the skippers who are there, I'm sure. So Miranda's telling us that she's only really starting to get back into the routine of life, enjoying fixed meal times and good food. She was saying that she'd lost quite a lot of weight initially and then realised what was happening, and then was much more disciplined in looking after herself, really from the moment she got into the south.
Là, on a la clarité.
Manu Kuzan, of course, there on the blue jacket, lives here in Les Sables d'Olonne now. So we're going to have a few interviews with the media.
S'il vous plaît. Par ici. Non, mais l'estrade, c'est pour les... Nous, on a besoin d'interviews pour la télé. Là, ça va aller.
Isabelle, il y a un statut.
Est-ce que vous attendiez à une telle arrivée, un tel
So
accueil?
for West of France, so were you expecting such a warm welcome, such a finish? No, I wasn't expecting it because I'm outside of the race. But this entrance of the channel was incredible. You are out of the race, but what does it change for you? It doesn't change much, actually, because my race was incredible. I am very proud of it. And the fact of finishing the course on the Vendée Globe is already so important. I have a feeling of satisfaction today. Is it a reward for your tenacity? It's a reward for everything. For having experienced everything, for having accepted everything, and pushing all the way, living everything all the way. Alain Gauthier said that you had done an incredible race. Yes, it's very nice for me. I made some errors, I know, some mistakes, but I am proud overall.
ça s'est avéré très très important. Et à partir du moment où mon bateau pouvait repartir,
It was important for me
c'est
to
devenu
take
un
start
peu
once
comme une
again.
évidence, comme si
And
ça
as soon as
s'imposait
my
de
boat was
terminer cette histoire,
able
de la
to
terminer.
resume the race, it was
Je me
just
rendais pas
obvious
compte
for
qu'en
me
plus
to
j'aurais
finish
droit
this
à un tel
story.
accueil. Et ça,
I
c'est
couldn't
pour moi,
imagine
c'est
I
la
would have
cerise sur le
such a
gâteau.
warm welcome.
À quel moment vous pensez avoir réussi à oublier la déception de
At which
l'abandon?
point did you forget
Ça s'est fait
the
progressivement.
disappointments?
J'ai eu
It happened
2 semaines
progressively.
de patience avec ma
I
qui
had
balançait pour
2
rejoindre
weeks of
les terres du
patience
Brésil. Ça a été
with
2
the
semaines
teams,
compliquées où à la fois il fallait
in
fallait
Brazil.
mener mon bateau en sécurité et à bon port.
When I had to
Et en
lead
même
my
temps, il
boat
fallait aller
to
le plus lentement
safety,
possible.
and I
Donc, du
had
coup,
to
là, j'ai
go
eu le temps de
the,
beaucoup réfléchir
the
à
slower,
cette notion
slowest
d'abandon qui est
possible,
très
and I
particulière
had
sur le
time
Vendée
to
Globe.
think about this lesson of
Et à
return
me rendre compte, en fait,
on this Vendée Globe, and realize
aussi une vue de l'esprit et que ce qui comptait,
that what
c'est la
counted
manière dont moi je ressentais ma
is
course,
the
dont moi
way
j'étais
I
fière
felt
de ce
my
que j'avais
race
fait. Et
and
franchement,
how I was proud of what I had
tellement
done.
fière et tellement
And
contente. Et j'ai
honestly, I'm
tellement été
so
soutenue par mes
proud
sponsors,
and
par mon
so
équipe,
happy,
qu'aujourd'hui,
and
vraiment,
I was
je peux
supported
que
so
être
well
fière.
by my sponsor
Mais
and my
malgré le temps de réparation et tout ça, est-ce qu'on regarde le temps passé en mer une fois qu'on arrive au sable?
time for repair. Do you look at
Oui,
the
j'ai regardé le temps
time
passé en mer
altogether
quand même
to reach
parce que
Les
ça a
Sables
été long.
Yes, I
Le
looked at
dernier
the
tronçon
time
a été long
actually
aussi,
because
hein. Un
it was
tronçon
long.
en
The
course, c'est
the
pas
last
simple non plus.
part
C'est moins
was
physique,
long.
c'est sûr, il y a moins de stress.
There is less
Mais
stress.
moralement, il faut quand
Morally,
même se faire violence pour,
you
après
have
avoir passé
to
déjà 2
push
semaines et 2
yourself
semaines en mer toute seule,
to spend weeks
repartir et
alone
remettre
and then
ce
to
dernier
restart
petit bout de
again
chemin
and do this last
voilà,
part
pour finir tout ça. Mais
to finish all
c'est pas
this.
une évidence.
En ce moment, tous les conférenciers, la mode, c'est rebondir, motivation, se motiver. Comment tu as rebondi
How were we able to rebound
Comment
and find the motivation for this?
Comment rebondir? C'est vraiment une question importante, effectivement.
It's an important question. And for today, it's adapted to the current
Je ne
situation.
sais pas exactement comment
I
j'ai
don't
rebondi.
really know.
Ce que je sais, c'est que
But I know
quand ça allait pas,
that when things
j'ai
were not
accepté que ça
right,
aille pas.
I accepted that they didn't
C'était vraiment
go
important,
right.
ça, pour moi, de ne pas me mentir.
So it was
De
really
pas dire,
important
mais
for
c'est
me
pas
not to
grave,
lie to
ça ira
myself
mieux demain.
and not tell
Voilà,
myself
pas
it
me
will be
raconter
better
l'histoire.
tomorrow.
Et je crois que ça m'a aidé à rebondir.
I think that's what
Super
helped
belle
me
philosophie et belle
start
motivation.
this again.
C'est arrivé, c'est une victoire. Hein.
Bien sûr, c'est une victoire. Oui,
This
c'est
finished
arrivé,
is a
c'est une
victory
victoire.
for you.
Chaque cap
Yes,
a
of
été
course
une
it is.
victoire. Chaque fois que j'ai réparé une avarie,
Every
ça a été
time
une victoire.
I
J'ai
repaired a
vraiment
damage,
l'impression
it
à
was a
chaque fois de
victory.
repartir
I had the impression
avec
of starting
un peu
again
plus de force,
every
de
time
force
with
en moi.
more strength inside.
Fin de parcours avec Samantha Davis.
Ouais.
So about the last part of the race with Samantha,
Psychologiquement,
how was it psychologically?
c'était important aussi d'avoir ce.
C'était hyper chouette.
It was
Voilà,
wonderful.
Ça s'est fait parce que
It
c'est un concours
happened
de circonstances. Samantha est arrivée le long du Brésil en même
circumstances.
temps que moi j'allais
She
repartir.
arrived off Brazil
Il faut savoir
same
qu'on
time I
on
was
est proches,
restarting.
on se parle beaucoup,
We are
hein,
close,
déjà entre filles, entre
speak
concurrentes,
together a lot
et puis
with
avec
all
Sam.
skippers, first of all.
Et ça a été un beau moment parce que
And it was a very nice moment
on s'est soutenus, on s'est beaucoup
because we supported each
écoutés,
other. We wrote
on s'est
to each
raconté
other a
les
lot.
conditions qu'on avait, on a
We
choisi
talked
de
about our
pratiquer
conditions
ensemble.
and we built the strategies together.
Quand je suis partie plus dans l'Est, tout ça, ça s'est
When
fait
I
en
went
concertation.
more in the
Et ça
east,
donnait
it was
l'impression d'être
done
moins seul. Même
in
si on était
coordination with
assez loin
Sam.
l'une de l'autre, en réalité,
We
on
were
était
quite
moins seuls.
far
Et
after,
on a
but
adapté nos vitesses
we weren't alone.
Là, c'était clairement
So we did adapt
c'était
our
autre chose,
strategies
c'était de l'entraide parce que Sam, à un
because
moment
we were
donné,
helping out
c'est
each
vrai que
other.
son bateau, c'était compliqué. Moi, ça aurait pu l'être aussi.
It was difficult for Sam on her boat, and it could have been difficult on mine too, but the idea was to
vais vous
encourage.
l'emprunter,
On continuera en conférence, s'il vous plaît.
Merci.
Chapeau.
Merci.
Je peux te le micro de Martin.
C'est prêt pour la musique?
On fait le par en dessous, non?
So there we go. Isabelle Joschke's first words with the media. She's going to enjoy a little bit of time with her friends and family and her sponsors, and have her first meal. And then we will join her report our press conference in a short time. So we'll be joining you then. So see you shortly.
Bye.